Today is yoga for strength. If you have bands or a strap, preferably bands, grab them. If you don't have them, you can work without them. I'll show you how to do it. If you have yoga blocks or something similar, grab them. I'm going to hold them. We're going to work hard today, so be prepared. Yoga for strength, build some strength. So again, grab your blocks, grab straps or bands if you have them. We're going to start on our feet today. So really just starting to roll around, feel your feet. Start to find the balls of your feet, roll the weight around on your feet. Really just experiencing your feet first. We're going to work the legs and the hips a lot today, so start to warm them up, feel them. Pick up the toes, spread them wide. Get a comfortable position for the feet underneath the hips. Find a nice tall mountain pose. Bring your hands to prayer heart space and let your prayer touch your chest. Find your center. Maybe even close the eyes. Find your breath. Begin to arrive in the present moment in time. Finding your center, letting go of all of the worries of yesterday and tomorrow, and just landing in this moment with the breath in this body. And then we're going to inhale, open up our arms. Exhale, bring our prayer overhead and then down to our heart. Inhale, open up, connect your prayer. Exhale, bring it down to your heart. Starting to just move, breathe, and connect with the breath and movement. And you can stay with this simple movement meditation, or you can start to build upon it, maybe lifting up the heels and coming to the balls of the feet with knees slightly bent, and then lowering the hips down, little baby chair. Inhale, lift and lengthen. Exhale, lower baby chair. Nice and slow and with control, finding all the muscles in the legs. What are you doing back there? And then sink it down to a chair. Hold a little chair. Soften the low back. Try to bring more attention in front of the hips. Soften the shoulders, soften the face. Breathe and hold. And then from here, slowly as you can, lift the right heel. Lower and then lift the left. Pedaling the heels up and down, nice and slow. And with control, finding the muscles in the feet and the legs. And then maybe a couple of rounds of lifting both at a time. Try to engage even the outside muscles of the hips. Lift and hover if you can. Hold. Breathe. And then back to mountain and connect to your breath. Inhale up. Exhale, prayer to heart. Inhale up. Exhale, prayer to heart. Holding your prayer here, we're going to bring the weight onto our right leg. Start to really find your balance. We're going to lift the left leg forward. So try not to swing that right hip up. Bring it center. Engage in the core. Lift the left leg and hold. Hands can go out to the side to balance. Or you can throw your leg around to the background. Hold and hover. And we're going to bend the right knee a little and lift. Really strong in the left leg. We're not forgetting about it. Hold and hover. And then send the left leg past the right, nice and slow and with control. Lift and hold, active left leg. And then little tiny bends in the right.
There's no balance today. What's happening?
All I can see in this screen is Kaylee flying around all over the place. Bring it back out and tap out this right foot. If you have the band, we're gonna go with the band. Otherwise, repeat that same thing without the band. Bring your weight onto the right leg again. Bring the left leg forward, knee bent, and wrap the band around the ball of the left foot. You're gonna hold onto the band, press into the ball of the left foot. Now you're really strong in the left leg. This helps just give you feedback. Comedy show behind us. This helps give you feedback for the left leg. So we're gonna do that same routine. You can counterbalance with the right hand. The same routine. Holding steady with the left leg, really strong. Pushing the left leg away from you. Finding a little more strength.
I don't know how I did that.
And then very slowly send the left leg past the right. You might need to adjust your grip. Send it all the way back. Hold. Now your left leg is really active. This is what your warrior 3 should feel like. Nice and strong in the left leg. And then again, little tiny squats in the right. Push into the band. Push that left leg away from you. Really strong and active in the left leg. And then release the band. Tap out the right foot. Let go of your band. Connect to your breath. Mountain pose. Inhale up. Exhale, prayer to heart. Inhale up. Exhale in. Land in your mountain pose in center. And then bring the weight onto the left leg this time. Really find that center of gravity. Pull your stomach in tight. It's if you're trying to squeeze the hip bones together and your stomach towards your spine. Hold your left leg strong and stable. Try not to pop out that left hip. Bring the right leg forward. Ooh. Bring it forward, lift and hover it. Hold. Your hands to balance, prayer on your hips. Lots of choices. And then little tiny lift with the right leg, squat with the left.
Why are you laughing? I haven't fallen yet. Stop laughing.
It's like a comedy show back there. Slowly send the right leg past the left. Still strong and active in both legs and in front of the hips. Hold and hover. Press the right leg back. Press it like you're pushing it away from you, and then little tiny squat. Small, controlled movements. See if you can find that mind-body connection with more of the glutes, more of the muscles in the legs. Long in the spine, so really strong in the stomach too. And then bring it down, tap out the left leg. Either repeat that same thing or find your band. Weight onto the left leg. Right leg comes forward. Wrap. No,
it's you. I've given it to you, huh?
Wrap the band around the right. Lift up, press into the band. Hold it strong. Really push the leg away from you. Watch the knee. Don't push the knee down. Push the ball of the foot down. Ball of the foot away from you. Push, push, push. Little squats. Hold active legs. Slowly bring the right leg past the left. Slow as you can. You may need to adjust the grip. Wobble. All the way back. Nice and strong and engaged. Press into the band. Long in the spine. Little tiny squats. hold and hover, and then bring it back. Release the band, connect to your mountain pose, tap your feet, and then connect to your breath. Inhale up, exhale, prayer to heart. Check in with the legs. Notice how they feel. We're going to step the feet a tiny bit wider, maybe about mat width apart. We're going to connect with the feet on the ground as if they're trying to pull the mat apart. All of the muscles of the legs should be fired up just by doing that. So really pull the mat like you're trying to rip it.
I have a headache. It's like in the back of my neck.
Hold it here, get really long in the spine, and then come just a little bit forward with the torso, holding onto the hips or arms out, or your hands just up on the back. Hold here, really strong. Legs should be firing, muscles should be really strong and solid. We're going to take little tiny movements of the hips side to side as slow as you can. So really engaging muscles, having an internal experience with your legs. And then start to bend one knee and then the other, nice and slow and with control. Finding the muscles that make this movement. Seeing if you can find every single firing of the movement. Bring it back to center. Inhale up, and this time swan dive it down. So this time we're swan diving down with a little bit wider feet. If you have your block, you can rest your hands on your block.
Just put mine away.
Take the tension out of the head and the neck, still engaged in the legs. Pressing into the balls of the feet, slowly lift one heel at a time. Really having an internal experience with your legs. And then maybe both heels lift, knees bend, hips sink. Nice and slow with control. Lift the heels, bend the knees, sink the hips, and then slowly lower the heels back down. After all the hard work, I promise tantrum pose, because whenever I do Malasana, Kaylee requests that she gets tantrum pose at the end.
I'm not requesting a tantrum pose. I told you I'm just going to start throwing a tantrum when you say do Malasana.
Turn the toes out slightly, and we're going to take the hips side to side and work our way down to Malasana. Find the point you can hold Malasana where all of your muscles are active and strong and you're not just hanging out and taking a break. Strong muscles pressing into the legs. If you're not strong enough to hold your hips, bring a block underneath your hips. Let the spine be nice and long. You can press your arms into your legs if you press your legs back into your arms. So don't just push one way, push both ways. Active muscle.
It wasn't that bad, so I was holding it, but I'm done Malasana now.
We're going to do some challenging poses through Malasana today. So bringing your hands onto the ground or onto a block or two blocks. We're going to come on up from Malasana, pushing through the legs. Come onto the right leg, lift the left. Bring it down, come onto the left leg, lift the right. Now we're not swinging, no swinging legs. We're using muscles. Down, power drive through the legs, lift the left, strong and active. Down, power drive through the legs, lift right, strong and active. Inhale as you lift. Exhale as you sink down. At no point in this are you relaxing and just flopping. It's nice and slow and with control. And you can complain and curse, I can't hear you. So go ahead, scream at me. Kaylee can't because she's on live TV. And then bring it back down, nice and slow. Malasana. Find the ground and step back, high plank, lower the knees, tabletop. We're going to move and breathe here. Inhaling tabletop, exhaling child's. Connect with the breath. Connect with the meditation of the movement. Have an internal experience, reset. And then begin to come forward and bend the elbows. Take a little half push-up. Exhale back. Inhale forward, a little half push-up. Exhale back. And then adjust your hands a little bit wider. Inhale forward, a little half push-up. Elbows go wide. And exhale back. Changing the position, the muscles that you use in your chest. Mixing it up. Avoiding repetitive strain, but building strength in all different ways. Hold it forward in this press-up position. Engage the stomach. Take the tension out of the neck. Get long in the spine. Press the front of the feet into the ground. Really strong. Hold this position. Breathe and hold. And then sink it back, child's pose. Let go of the arms. Take the tension out of the head and shoulders and neck. Soften the breath. Press into the hands and make your way to a down dog. Warm up your down dog position in any way you feel comfortable. Bending the knees, swaying the hips, whatever feels good. Then find the stillness of down dog. Lifting the hips up out of the ground, connecting with your head below your heart. Breathe. Look forward towards the hands. Bend both the knees deeply. Take the right hand outside of the right foot. Right foot outside of the right hand. Left foot outside of the left hand. Back to Malasana. You're going to grab your block if you have it. Options here. If you want, you can put the band around your lower arms and press into the band, or you can hold a block. You're going to press and hold the block. I want you focused on using your arms, using strength in your arms and shoulders. We're going to press up until we're more in a squat position. And we're going to do that same thing, only this time engage your arms. Inhale as you lift, bring the weight onto one leg, lift the other. Exhale, center. Inhale as you lift.
I'm doing upside down Malasana.
Engage. Everything you can find except the face. Soften the face. And then come to a stand. Take a reset with the shoulders. Wiggle. That same position this time, instead of lifting the legs sideways, we're going to step back. Twist forward, twist backwards.
You were laughing at the beginning of class. You knew you had torturing me playing.
So, set up. Take a little wiggle, reset. Enjoy the wiggles. Do that cellular reset in your legs. Let it go. Engage first the arms. So press into the block or press into the band, whatever you're doing, or just imagining that your arms are strong and engaged, all muscles strong. Get strong and engaged, lower the hips. We're going to take the weight onto the right leg, take the left leg behind. Exhale, center. Inhale as you take it behind. Exhale, center. Slow, controlled, not swinging limbs in space. Notice how different this feels. Slight change to the movement. Whole different muscle group. Engage the arms. Don't forget, soften the face. Don't cheat.
My arms are very engaged.
And then stand center, release your block. Wiggle out the legs, loosen and soften. Step into your mountain and connect with your breath. Inhale up. Exhale, prayer to heart, reset. Hold in the mountain. Find your center. Find your breath. Step your feet back out. Malasana pose. Come on all the way down nice and slow. Hands are going to touch the ground or blocks. So whatever is easiest for you, we're going to kind of combine those two movements. So we're going to press into our hands, take the left leg behind, switch right leg over, tap, back to Malasana. Right leg behind, switch the left leg over, slow as you can. Tap, controlled muscle movement, no swinging limbs. Back, swing it over, tap, squat Malasana. Step back. Swing the leg over with control. Step back, Malasana. Lift up out of the arms. Don't sink into the shoulders. Soften the face. Little more. Find your Malasana. Place your hands on the ground, step back, high plank. Hold, breathe, lower the knees, child's pose, reset. Place the forearms down, engage the forearms. So move around till you can feel comfortable in your arms and shoulders, forearms down and engage. Pull the shoulders up out of the ground and then pull the elbows like you're trying to pull the elbows apart. So arms completely engaged, hands firm on the ground, shoulders lifting up out of the ground. You're going to step the right leg back with a bend in it, almost to a plank. You're going to step the left leg back, hold and hover, engaged in the core. Watch the tension in the neck. Breathe and hold. And then you're going to step the right foot a teeny bit further forward, engaged, lift the left leg. You're going to bring the left leg bent knee and around in a big circle. Slow and with control. Still engaged in the shoulders. If you cannot hold this in the shoulders, And you're done, come on up to a tabletop and do the same thing. Try to remain engaged. This is yoga for strength, so we're trying to build that strength in the arms and shoulders. Engage the left leg as it comes around in circles. Nice and slow and controlled, and then reverse your circle. Lower down. Send the hips backwards. Take a child or a puppy, whichever feels better. Reset. Breathe. Let go. Set up again, forearms down, pull the arms apart, really strong in the shoulders, lift the shoulders and chest up out of the ground. And then send the left leg back with a bend in the knee, come to a forearm plank with the left leg, and then send the right leg back. Hold the forearm plank for a moment, and then step the left leg a little bit further, the hips will lift a little. Engaging the right leg, bent knee, take a huge slow circle with the hip. As if you're trying to find every point your muscles can move in, every angle. Breathe and hold. Breathe in circle, sorry. Lift up out of the ground. And then switch the direction. Lower the knees. Send it back to child or puppy, whichever feels better. Take the head tension out of the neck.
I would take a child or take a puppy, whatever you want.
Take a really long, slow breath in and exhale, sigh it out of the mouth. Really let some tension go. We're building some heat in the body. Start to let some of that heat go. And then find your down dog. Come on up to a down dog. Take the head, tension out of the neck. Lift the hips way up out of the ground. Engage the stomach and the chest and the shoulders. Breathe. Bending the left knee, take the toes of the right foot down to the ground. Think about that engaged lift that we had before. So lift with the back of the leg entirely engaged. Lift the right leg high. Don't worry about how high it is, but more pushing it away from you, pushing it up out of the ground from the fingertips. Nice and long. Hold, push away. Bend the knee, bring it towards the right wrist, and maybe find your blocks. We're going to inhale forward, exhale, sending the right leg towards straight, having an internal experience in our legs, finding some movement. You might want to move the hips around, you might want to change the weight on the feet. Whatever feels good, have your own internal experience of what you need today. Inhale and exhale, nice and slow. And then adjusting the blocks so they're a little bit further forward from your right foot. You're going to bring the weight onto the right foot. Really pull up out of the ankle. Pull up as if you're pulling from the arch. Pull up all the way to the hip. Nice strong leg first. Try not to take too much weight into the blocks, so just for balance. You're going to take the heel of the left foot just as we were engaged in lifting before. Slowly as you can, lift it up, get long in the spine. And then bend the right leg and lower. Come forward, slowly lift up, and then slowly lower. Notice which muscles engage to make this movement. Try to find that mind-body connection. Engage as if you're lifting from the left heel. Whole leg engaged. Imagine you still have that band and you're pulling against it. Lift up, hold and hover. Bend the right knee and take the left leg long and behind. Come on up to curtsy pose. Inhale as you rise. Exhale, prayer to heart. From here, make sure you adjust so that your hips are nice and even. So if I face the front, you'll be able to see. Hips nice and even. Try not to have wonky hips. Hips nice and even. Legs nice and strong. Hold your prayer. Engage your legs first, and then take little squats in this position. Small and controlled. We're not flopping through our joints. We're finding the muscles in our legs. So when you think about all the falls and accidents that we have, they're not moving straight forward generally. It's when we place our joints in a funny angle. So we want to build up those muscles of funny angles so that we're less likely to injure when we fall. And then bring the weight onto the right leg. Step the left leg behind. So crisscross legs. And we're going to come forward. Long, tall spine. Forward fold. Maybe you're going to grab your block. And just notice what it feels like to have your legs crossed. Maybe adjust the weight in the legs. See what it feels like. Lift up the right heel. Lower. Just feel the legs lift and lower. Maybe lift both heels. Feel the feet. Nice and slow and with control. Both heels bend the knees. And then placing the hands on the ground, stepping back like those. Hold a high plank. Get really strong in the shoulders and chest. Lift up out of the ground. A little bend in the knees. Send the energy through the heels. Feel strong in the back of the legs. Breathe and hold. You can lower the knees if you're feeling tired or if your strength is not here yet. Place the weight onto the right hand. Lift up the left. Take a big circle. Nice and slow with control. Left hand, take a big circle. Slow and with control. Find the muscles in the stomach, the chest, the arms. And then lower the knees, hips back, child's pose. Release, let go, breathe. Make your way to down dog. Get really strong in your down dog, lifting the hips up out of the ground, taking the tension out of the neck. Lift up out of the wrists. Don't sink into the wrist, placing all the weight on the base of the wrist. Lift up with the strength of the arms and shoulders. Breathe. Bend the right knee, send the toes of the left foot to the ground, and then lifting with the heel as slow as you can, as if you still have that band engaged on your leg. Lift up long, hold, get longer from the fingertips to the heel of the left foot. Breathe. Engage the left leg. Bend the knee, step the left foot behind the left wrist. Maybe finding your blocks. Inhale forward, exhale sending the left leg towards straight. finding your own internal experience of what movement you need, moving the weight around on the feet, moving the hips, moving slow and with control, finding the muscles, having your own internal experience. And then placing the weight up onto the left leg. Bring your blocks a little bit further forward if you're using them. We're going to really lift up out of this leg. Not sinking into the joints, but pulling up all the way to the hip. Bring the weight forward. Slowly lift the right heel as if it were attached to the band, still engaged. Inhale as you come forward and slowly lift. Exhale as you lower. See if you can find more muscle engagement on the right leg. Use the back of the leg. Get longer in the spine. And then come forward, hold and hover. Bend into the left leg, take the right leg all the way past the left leg, land in a curtsy. Inhale as you rise up, prayer overhead. Exhale, prayer to heart. Find your curtsy, find your hips even. So I'm trying not to have one hip higher than the other, try to get them even. Always great to have your hands on your hips so you know where they are. We never know where our hips are. Inhale up, exhale, prayer to heart. Hold. Getting really strong on the legs. So finding that point where you can feel like both legs are engaged. We're going to slowly lower the knees, little half squats. Very tiny movement with very engaged legs. Find that mind-body connection. See if you can find more engagement in the legs, more engagement around the knees. And then bring the weight onto the left leg.
I don't know what that is.
Tuck the right behind the left. I think it's your toe. Get really, really tall. And then fold forward. Maybe find your block. Experience crisscross legs, forward fold. A little different. You can play with the weight on the feet. And then slowly lift and lower the left heel. Maybe lift both heels. And then maybe lifting the heels, bending the knees, sinking the hips. Lower the heels. Lift the heels, bend the knees, sink the hips. Slowly lower the heels. Try to keep an eye out for compensation patterns. So watch the back, watch the shoulders and the neck. Soften your face. And then you're gonna lift the heels if you can, sink the hips, bend the knees. An option to play with a cross-legged crow. So, you can use the blocks for crow poses. You're gonna place your hands down on the ground and you're going to feel like you're lifting up out of your shoulders. So you're pulling your chest as far towards the ceiling as you possibly can. Scoop it up. Lift up out of the shoulders. Bend the knees. Lower the hips. Maybe the knees can start to find above the elbows. So just behind the elbow joint on the upper arm. So play. Find the position first. Lift the chest. Lean forward, just experience coming a little further forward. If you're not at this point yet, you can uncross your feet and just play with crow. Bringing the heels up, knees in behind, the elbows on the upper arms. Lift the chest, maybe come to the tippy toes. So play with where you're at. And then take a break when you're ready, just as Kaylee is. And then step it back, high plank. Hold your plank. Lift the chest up, scoop the chest up. Really hollow out the chest. Pull the stomach towards the spine, and we're gonna slowly lower the forearms down. So bend into the knees first so you're nice and strong in the core. Lower the elbows down towards the ground, forearms down, and then back. You have to do this with a lot of control. Slow and control, building strength in the arms and shoulders. Take the tension out of the neck. Try to watch for compensation patterns. Back should not be pulling. Legs and glutes and stomach are active, but they're not doing all the work. And then lower the knees. Take your child's. Release and reset. Take a break. Let go. Find your breath. Take a deep breath in. Exhale, sigh it out of the mouth. And then you're going to make your way to your back.
Oh, Shavasana.
It's not Shavasana time yet, but getting close. So a little bit of core work before we settle in. Make sure your block is handy. If you have your block, you're working with the block.
It's also really hot.
It's really hot in here. So once you land on your back, take a little wiggle of the hips, bring the knees in, really find yourself on the ground. Hair is hurting my head. Take your feet up towards the ceiling and just get your feet above your heart. Wiggle the legs, take circles with your ankles, wiggle the toes, whatever feels good.
I think it was my ankle because it's doing it again.
And then place the feet down about hip width apart, but not too close to the glutes. Knees up, take a little wiggle of the hips. So you want to feel the point where you can press the hips down into the ground. The low back is not being forced to the ground. So that when we force our back to the ground, we tilt the pelvis. It's not what we're looking for right now. Press the hips down into the ground. Press the rib cage down into the ground. If you're working with a block, place the block narrow width between the knees, just below the knee joint. Squeeze the block. Try to let the shoulders remain on the ground. Try not to force the neck onto the ground. Let that natural curve of your neck remain, chin to the ceiling. Squeeze the block really, 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 really hard. And then we're going to take a little tiny sway of the knees. You're not going to move the knees very far, but left and right knees are going to move. Trying to keep the hips grounded. So you're pressing the hips down. Watch for compensation patterns. For me, when I do this, right below the skull, I fire up my neck for this for some reason. So try to bring the focus in the really close muscles towards the spine, deep in close to the spine, squeezing the legs. Glutes can also be active.
I don't feel anything working.
You're not squeezing the block hard enough.
I'm squeezing the block as hard as I can.
Okay, so take it a little bit faster. See if
I feel it in my legs.
Can you find it right in the middle core? Press the hips down into the ground more if you're not feeling it. Rib cage down. Release, reset.
Maybe I was feeling it. I just wasn't. I don't know.
It's always a puzzle with Kaylee. Take the block. This time make it width, the long width. Place it back between the legs, just below the knee. Squeeze. So you may need to adjust your feet to where you can find your feet comfortably on the ground. So you want to give a little push of the feet as if you're pushing them away without letting them move. Fire up the legs, squeeze the block.
Ow, that like pushes my thigh muscle into the block and it hurts. Not like the muscle, it just like hurts like
Squeeze the block.
like my
Squeeze the
thighs
hips
being
down.
pushed
Take
into the
that
block.
same very tiny side shuffle of the knees. Watch for compensation patterns. Neck should be loose. Squeeze the core. See if you can find the glutes a little active. See if you can find the legs a little active. Tends to be once you focus on one muscle group, the other one starts to get a little lazy. So see if you can keep resetting and finding that mind-body connection, turning on as many muscle groups as you can. Having an internal experience, squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. See if you can find those core muscles deep in by the spine. If you were able to push down, you should feel muscle tight here into your stomach.
I can't tell if my core is doing the work or if I'm just flexing my core.
Release your block. Bring your knees in. If you're Kaylee, you're just flopping around.
No, I'm not flopping. My legs, I can feel it in my legs. I don't know if my core was doing anything or if it was just flexing to look pretty. I'm not sure if it was doing anything.
Your stomach flexes to look pretty, and that's what it just does. It's its goal in life.
But I don't think it was like, I feel like I could have done the same thing without having my core active. Like, I don't think it was doing any of the work.
Press the hips down into the ground. Bring the knees over the hips. Option to use the block again, this time narrow width between the knees. So squeeze and hold, not tight, just a little active. Squeeze and hold. Notice compensation patterns. Lower back should not be doing the work here. Press your hips down with your stomach. Press your rib cage down with your stomach. Find the point where your shoulders can remain on the ground. Squeeze the block. And we're going to bring the knees a little bit further away from us. Push the foot away and then bring the knees back to the hips. Tiny movement. Squeezing the hips.
I feel this one.
So try to find the core muscles, really noticing compensation patterns if the back wants to do all of this work. Really trying to bring the focus into the stomach. 2 things you can do if you're having trouble. Press your hands onto your hips to ground your hips, or bring your hands to the muscle group that you want to be working. Stick your fingers there. Remind those muscles that you want them to switch on. Flex the feet, legs are active. Release the block, bring the knees in, reset, take a wiggle, place the feet back down on the ground, knees up but soft. So everything's soft. Take a deep breath in, exhale, sigh it out of the mouth. Guess what? All the hard work is done. So we're going to take a couple of reset movements, looking for that cellular reset, that shake and wiggle and reset and let go. So take the feet a little bit wider than the hips. Let the hips be settled on the ground, but nothing active. No muscles are strong right now. We're not looking for any muscle engagement. So think about when you shake your arms, shake your hands. That's what we're looking for in our legs. We're going to shake our hips left and right. Really shaking, loosening, softening. We work the hips a lot. So try and find as much wiggle as you can, as much loose, soft muscle as you possibly can. Let that cellular reset happen. Wiggle and jiggle, let it go. Take a deep breath in. And with the exhale, just kind of land, let go. Take a body scan. So first, just checking in how you feel all together. How do you feel? Are there muscles talking to you? Is there any tension remaining in the body? Just notice. Take a little wiggle left and right of your shoulders. See if you can get a little soft jiggle of the shoulders now. Just soft. Left and right, letting everything move and wiggle and reset. Maybe you're getting some wiggles down the spine. Maybe you're getting wiggles around your legs, getting so soft you can wiggle all over. Wiggle and loosen and soften. So we work the muscles so we know what they feel like when they're holding tension and they're tight. And then we try to find the opposite. Finding softness, releasing tension, releasing what is held. Take a deep breath, and then with the exhale, release and soften. Try to let the legs be nice and soft, and find that point where you can wiggle your feet around. Maybe your knees come in towards each other, but you're really looking for as much softness in the low back as possible. So low back is letting go. Muscles around the hips are letting go. And then really focus in on the neck. So especially up by the crown of the head, but up by the skull, the connection of the neck to the head. And then really just take some soft side to sides with the chin. Trying to loosen and soften and feel the neck. Notice if you're holding any more tension in the neck. Maybe flip the palms up to the ceiling. See if you can land the shoulder blades a little more on the ground. Take a few slow breaths, trying to soften and release the tension as much as possible, especially in the neck. Soften the lower jaw. And then if this is the most comfortable position you can possibly think of right now, or if you're feeling like you're in a wonderful reset position, feel free to remain in this position. But your final resting pose is always your choice. Make your choice, especially because you're at home. You're not disturbing anyone. Sometimes we worry about disturbing other people in the class if we move and shuffle around. Take the time. Move, shuffle around, find what is your perfect resting pose for you today. Maybe it's different than it always is. Take time to get a blanket. Take time to get comfortable. The resting pose is not about stretching. One of the most important parts of the entire class, centering at the start and then centering at the end and releasing and resetting. So finding the ground in whatever position works for you right now. And begin with a physical body scan. Notice where you're at. Start with the feet. Feel the toes, feel the soles of the feet. Feel the ankles, feel the lower legs. Connect with the knees. Maybe even taking a moment to imagine placing little soft, fluffy clouds right in the knee joints. Making space and releasing tension around the knees. Soften the thighs, connect with softness and releasing tension in the thighs. And then land in the hip joints. And imagine placing little soft, fluffy clouds of space and softness, releasing tension, wear and tear, holding patterns, things no longer needed from the hips. And then as if you could visit each vertebrae one at a time, walk your attention up your spine, slowly imagining, releasing tension, placing space letting go of holding patterns. Land at the base of the skull. And place softness here. Softness in the lower jaw. Softness around the ears. Softness across the upper lip. Imagine you could release gripping in your gums and the tongue. Soften around the eyes, around the temples, and soften across the forehead. And then, as if you could see the back of your eyelids, place your awareness here. And then gently, softly fall in to the center of the mind. Allowing a little space for whatever is present here to be present here. Greeting yourself as you would a dear friend, with patience and kindness and compassion. And then just as you let go of the tension in the body, in the physical body, begin to let go of the tension in the thoughts and the mind. The brain fires, thoughts are there. Release your gripping. If you have more time to take, please listen to your body and take the time that you need to remain in your resting pose. If you need to finish up on the 60-minute mark, we're hitting that mark. So begin to soften into the sounds of the room, into the present moment. Beginning to wake the body with gentle movements of the fingers and the toes. Slowly bring a knee in at a time and make your way to a fetal position if you're not there already. Try to end your practice in a little bit of ritual. So part of the healing nature of a yoga practice is to form these patterns in our brain that are productive, familiar patterns and pathways. Our brain loves familiar patterns and pathways. We try to fill it with positive, productive pathways. And coming into a fetal position, connect to your internal layer, your spark of life, your essential layer, your bliss layer, your soul, whatever you label it, whatever you connect with. Taking a moment to check in, connect within, peeling off all the other layers. Reminding yourself in a time in the womb when all your needs were met and you had not judged yourself as negative or positive. That little spark of life. And then slowly return to a seated position. Bring your hands to prayer at heart space. Connecting with this gesture of bringing our left and right sides to meet in front of our heart, as if accepting ourselves as whole and complete, precisely as we are. May we all know love, light, and connection. Thanks for joining us.